Alright, so today's video is going to be about lying, cheating, and stealing, and how basically all three of those things and a whole bunch of other negative traits are encouraged in our society in a lot of subtle ways. And I mean, pretty just about every negative trait a person can have is encouraged in our modern societies. And so the reason I was thinking about this is I was thinking yesterday how when I went and got a storage unit, this was a couple of years ago. I go there and it's just, the price that they say that they advertise. I forget what the price was, but once you get in there, there's all kinds of new prices. Oh, we got to add this for this thing, and we got to add this for this thing. And I was just getting so annoyed. I'm like, and it's not like it's a lot of money. It's a couple of dollars for this, a couple of dollars for that, but eventually they get you for about another $20 on top of what the initial price is. And then right before they give you the thing, they're like, "Oh, well, you have to have a lock too." And we can't give it to you without a lock because if something got stolen, we're liable for it. And so you really can't go and buy a lock somewhere else because then you got to start the whole process over again. So they sell you this really crappy lock for like another, I think, 10 or $20. And this lock is worth maybe $2 or $3. You could pick this thing so easily. I've never seen an easier lock to pick, and I'm not some sort of cat burglar or something, but it's one of the easiest locks to pick that I've ever seen in my life. You would have no trouble picking this lock with nothing but a couple of paper clips. And so I was like, it's here they are ripping me off for another 10, $20 for this lock that I really, under normal circumstances, I wouldn't buy this one because I know it's such an easy thing to beat. But and it's all bullshit anyway. Like it's this lock is not going to anyone who's determined to get into your storage unit is going to pick this lock with ease. So I was just thinking to myself, look at how it's just acceptable. Everyone just accepts it. Like it's expected. Like you know, um, you'll see all these things at the grocery store, like uh, buy two get one free, but then you realize it's this other thing and like shit like that. And I'm not the type that even usually pay attention to that type of thing, like clipping coupons and all that shit, because I feel like if you're gonna sit there going through a bunch of coupons and the amount of time that you spend doing that, clipping the coupons and then ringing each coupon up and all this and that, and you end up wasting way more time than you're gonna like. It's not an even trade. You're wasting all this time, and time is worth more than the 48 cents you're gonna end up saving. You know what I mean? So it to me, it never seemed like it was something that was worth my time to be bothering with coupons and everything. So, um, but it's just a perfect example of how everything is just everyone just accepts it, and so you look at the politicians. Everyone's always just the politicians, they say one thing and then they do another. Everyone just it's like, oh, it's just that's what they do. Let's just keep getting fucked out of everything. Who cares? That's what they do. It's like it's really annoying to me. And then the reason it happens is because we let it happen. We accept it. We're giving our consent to it. You look at the two parties, Republican and Democrat. I'm gonna pick the lesser of two evils. Everyone's like, "Oh, what? You're a fucking genius." Yeah. Hey, let's just. This one's less evil than that one, and it's not even. I mean, they're both evil, and they're both gonna screw you over. But people are just so friggin' dumb and brainwashed nowadays. Like, It's like they think they're saying something smart. I'm gonna pick the lesser of the two evils. Like, you're a fucking idiot. I'm sorry. Like, I'm not trying to be a dick, but it's like people like when I was a kid, they'd be like, "Oh well, if you don't vote, you don't have a right to complain." And this is George Carlin made this point. He said, "I don't vote because I do have a right to complain. I didn't pick these people. You picked them. Like, you're putting two people up in front of me. Neither of them would I ever choose to lead me anywhere. And you're telling me I'm not allowed to complain if I don't want either of them? Like, man, I gotta clean up my phone. I can this video is gonna have to be. I can't even record any longer than 25 minutes. That's frustrating. I should have checked that before I started filming. But I mean, whatever. It's whatever the video ends up being. It ends up being. But we live in a society full of criminals and liars and fools, and it's just like we need to stop accepting it. It's everyone should just at least try to be, you know, fair and honest. And they're like, oh well, life's not fair. Well, you know what? Life is what you make it. You know what I mean? Like, um, I don't care if everyone else is doing something that's wrong. That doesn't mean I'm gonna do it. Maybe that's my ego talking, where I want to look down on people or something. I don't know, but I can tell you one thing: I've taken financial hits before just because I was like, I'm not gonna be a scumbag. I don't want to feel that way about myself. I like to, um, I wish the neck on this damn shirt was a little less. I don't like the turtleneck type shit, but it's finally getting a little cool in Florida, and I love my Under Armour shirt. But um, I just I don't want to feel that way about myself. Um, I just screwing people out of money. I don't like it. Just doesn't feel right to me. When all is said and done, money is kind of a petty thing. I get it. You need it to survive, but I don't like that rat type behavior where people are sneaking and sniveling around looking to, I'll get a few pennies out of this one and a few pennies out of that one. Like, that ain't me, bro. You know what I mean? I ain't never been that way. And I don't want to be that way. And I used to remember, when I'd be in high school buying weed off of people, and I'm buying like a quarter for like 25 bucks. Motherfuckers like weighing it on a scale and shit. I'm like, eh, you know. But you also got to realize we grew up listening to rap and thinking we were gangsters. We were the furthest thing from it. Like, um, I mean, truthfully, in my opinion, nobody's really a gangster. And nowadays, in my opinion, if you choose to be something because then you're not. It ain't that real. Some people are gangsters because they're forced to be that way. But if you're from the suburbs and you ain't got to do all that, you know what I mean? Um, but I get it. People want to get rich and shit. But what a stupid society where crime, it's like, oh, that's cool. Like, I remember another kid I knew in high school. He used to break into cars, and I was such a moron back then. I thought he was cool and brave, and I think back on it now. I'm like, you're a little rat piece of shit, bro. If I caught you breaking into my car, I would beat your ass. You know what I mean? Like, there'd be no, there'd be no understanding. If I caught someone breaking into my car, I'm gonna attack them. And it's like, you deserve to get your ass whooped for acting like that. For You don't steal from other people. That's a rat piece of shit thing to do. Um, but we grow up in this society where it's like it's acceptable. Everyone's doing it from the top down, and so people wonder why everything is so messed up. You can blame these politicians, but we're sitting here voting for them and arguing with each other. Oh, it's Trump's fault. It's Biden's fault. And I mean, do you really think it makes a difference? Like, that's another thing that annoys me about Republicans. Do you guys honestly believe that that's going to change much, just having your guy up in there? You think it's going to matter that much? Like, do you think? the world got this way in 4 years? You think Biden did just turned the whole fucking thing upside down and fucked everything up? You know what I mean? Like, it takes more than 4 years to get it to this point. You know, it's like y'all got to get your heads out of your asses, bro. Really, like, I mean, it's I'll take Trump over Biden, but I don't see that it makes much of a difference at all. I like Trump is just like, let's say Biden just turns the faucet on all the way and then goes and takes a nap. Trump turns it down a little bit. That's it. You know, it's like, you know, you don't see Trump changing anything. And here's another thing. You look at that January 6th thing. If Trump was the heroic leader that you guys think he is, you really think he'd be letting that happen and just shutting up about it? He don't say a word about that. I ain't never heard him say a word about it. He don't care. They're putting people away for 20 something years. Um, the dude from what the Proud Boys or whatever, and he's like a Spanish dude. They locked him up for like 20 years, and apparently he wasn't even at the January 6th thing. It's like, you know, if Trump is the hero you guys think he is, he don't seem to give too much of a shit about none of them people. But let them. All these people went to jail for a guy that doesn't give a fraction of a shit about him. Probably forgot about him by January 9th. You know what I mean? So you can keep being loyal to these politicians. In my opinion, we need a third party. And I don't, they're like, well, the third party, well, then you're just stealing from the other party's votes, and then the other party's going to win. Who cares? Like, these two parties are no good. They're the same thing. We need a real third party, like, for real. And I mean one that is ex- against the left and the right. And it's like, I see people on Instagram, you know, pointing out some of the terrible things that Israel did. Apparently, they just bombed a hospital. And so everyone in the comments is like, "Oh, this is messed up. That's messed up. It ain't cool. It ain't right." And then there's other people in the comments like, "Oh, I didn't realize you guys were on the left now. Like, oh, you're against Israel. Well, that means you're on the left." And I put a comment that said, "I'm not gonna put a label on myself and then just stop thinking like, oh, I'm on the right, so I'm against the Palestinians." No, that's not me. I'm not on. You can go ahead and say I'm not on the right. Maybe I'm not. I don't know. It, you know what I mean? Like, because a lot of the things the right does, I find just as stupid and ridiculous as the things the left does. I mean, it's polar opposite ends of the spectrum, but it's equally stupid, you know? So, you know, he's in the comments, "Oh, you guys are on the left." And I'm like, "Look, you expect everyone to just put a label on themselves and then just stop thinking and let that label dictate how they feel about everything? Like, oh, I'm on the right, so let them just bomb all the civilians in the hospitals and the schools. Go ahead. Say I'm on the right, so I can't complain." Like, come on, bro. Like, that's one of the problems. Everybody chooses this label. I'm a Republican. I'm a Democrat, and no, you're not. You ain't getting nothing out of none of them. So, well, you know, why would you be loyal to these people that are not loyal to you? They're not loyal to us. You know what I mean? And then you got people literally, they're loyal to these political parties that do nothing but rob them and take food out of their kids' mouths. And it's like, but here's the other problem. It's like you take any average person and put them in these positions where they can just run wild and do whatever they want to do. Look at these politicians. Nancy Pelosi, what, she's got like hundreds of millions of dollars. How is that possible? This public servant. I mean, it's like they've got it right in our faces that, you know, and it really pisses me off because in the end, we pay for all of it. All this billions and trillions of dollars. Where do they get all that money? They get it from you. They get it because you can't pay your rent or buy your food. So they can buy a $300,000 bomb and drop it on a shack in the middle of a desert. So you can't eat and you can't pay your rent. This way they can drop, you know, smart bombs on tents in the desert. So, you know, it's who's to blame? I don't blame the politicians. I blame us. We play right along with it. And the only evil that is going to happen in your life is the evil that you consent to. So we're all doing we're all doing something wrong because everything's wrong. You know what I mean? So we need to start taking accountability ourselves. You got to stop blaming these clowns who, look at them. I mean, they're on their last legs. They can barely stand up on their own. You got Mitch McConnell having friggin' flashbacks to childhood while he's standing at the podium. The guy doesn't even know what planet he's on. I mean, you got to be kidding me. I don't know. Like, take any outside observer. If someone was from, I don't know, another planet and show them the current situation in the United States, they'd be like, what the? They'd be like, what is wrong with these fucking people? And they wouldn't be like, oh, it's just the politicians. They'd be like, what the hell? Why do they accept this? Look, their kids are in school getting their genders changed. I mean, they can't afford to keep a roof over their heads, which is it's not a hard thing to obtain for an intelligent animal, but these morons are sitting there spending their whole lives dedicated to just keeping a shack over their heads. And it's like, at some point we got to stop pointing at the stupid clowns who we watch them just run wild and drive our economies and our nations into the ground. It's so simple. You know what? Look, it all comes down to the economy. If we had a good economy, we would have no problems. With the amount of money being dumped into the government, for them to not have a good economy, it takes effort. It's not an accident. You know, you can't. It's look around you. It's with a fertile land filled with resources. Do you realize how inept and stupid people would have to be struggling for resources in a part of the world that is so filled with resources? It's unfathomable. I mean, we're surrounded by richness, and yet we just give it all away to these morons who squander it fighting wars on the other side of the world against people who are just like us. When all is said and done, they might have different beliefs, but they are being screwed over by their governments too. Then everyone's just getting screwed. And so, and one of the I got way off track there, but one of the reasons is because we are encouraged to kind of be pieces of shit too, with the lying and the cheating and the stealing. Everyone's resume is all bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, um, everyone whose resume is actually real. I remember one time one of my friends, because I'm not with all this shit, the paperwork, and it's not me. I'm the type to work outside. I belong 1,000 years ago, maybe 10,000 years ago. I don't belong in this time. So when I got to do something like a resume or something, someone's got to show me how to do it. So my buddy was sitting here, and he's like showing me how to make a resume, and I'm like, he's like, well, you should say you were doing this and that, and I'm like, well, that's not true. And he's like, no, it doesn't matter. It's everyone does it. And I'm like, well, I feel like an idiot doing that. Like, first of all, why should I sell myself to these people? The whole thing just seems stupid to me. And then on top of that, you want me to lie to pretend I'm something I'm not. You know what I mean? So it's just normal. Everyone's got to lie and cheating and stealing. Sure, go ahead. Everyone else is doing it. So it's like, you know, how do we change it? Well, we stop taking part in it. Number one, because then you're not really given permission. Once you're not doing it, then ain't nobody got no right to do it to you, and that includes the government and whoever else. So I was thinking about it yesterday, and I'm like, what the hell kind of society teaches the people that lying and cheating and stealing is okay, and what kind of people, uh, you know, it's it's hard to pinpoint it because it's been happening for so long. It's like the frog in the boiling water. It's they turn the heat up a little bit here and there. They're playing 5D chess. We're playing fucking tic tac toe. They just turn the heat up, and then oh, we go into an uproar. They turn it down a click or two. They wait a little while. They turn it. They crank it back up. Everyone goes nuts. They turn it down a click or two. But as time goes on, the heat is going up, and here we are in a boiling pot, and nobody knows their ass from their elbow. Everyone's so confused, and you know, they talk about, oh, they don't want your guns. Oh, yes, they do. They do it 1 inch at a time. They take a little here, they take a little there, and the people who actually defend these dim-witted politicians, they make me the angriest. You know, like these politicians, at least they're getting rich off it. What do you get? What is it that you get for pushing political agendas? You know, and it goes for both sides, but mostly it's the left that they're so hardcore. Like, well, what's wrong with kids getting their genitals mutilated by some lunatic doctor for $500,000? What's wrong with it? What the fuck is wrong with you? You know what I mean? Like, how'd they get you? How'd they get your head so fucking screwed up where you think that's okay? I mean, it's like, you know, I I gotta say, I'm grateful I never ended up having kids. I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine putting my kids in these public schools, even in Florida. Um, because I think back to when I was in public school, and yeah, they were pushing plenty of political bullshit down our throats. You know what I mean? Um, and my hair looks good. Just washed it yesterday, and since there's very little humidity in Florida right now. You know, you don't notice how much you care about your hair until you've grown it for fucking 10 years. Anyways, although the truth is, I get annoyed with it. My head was shaved throughout my whole, you know, when I was younger, I just kept my head shaved for a lot of reasons. But once I was living on the street, I was like, I can't shave my fucking head no more, so I'm gonna just grow my hair. And now that it's grown, I like it. But it gets annoying. To be totally honest, I don't really care either way if my head was shaved or if my hair was long. Having a shaved head is very convenient. You only got to deal with it once a month. You just shave your head. But anyways, let me watch this video and see if it makes any sense. I feel like that was an incoherent rant, and I'm not even sure I even covered the point. My main point was, you know, you got to stop accepting lying, cheating, and stealing. And look, first of all, we got to stop it in ourselves. You know, you got to recognize it. Don't lie on your resume. You know what I mean? Like, who are these people to make you lie to what? To get some shit job that's going to drive you nuts anyway? You know what I mean? I understand if you got to make money, but what are you getting in the end? You're getting there. You're supposed to lie and act like a clown so that they'll allow you to sell your life to them for a little bit of money. I mean, yeah, I get it. What are you gonna do? Go live out on the street? I don't suggest that either. I went and did that, but that's because I'm the type where I'm I don't even know. I can't even explain it. But I was so disgusted with the whole thing. I was like, man, fuck y'all, motherfuckers. I don't, you know, I ain't playing this game. A game I can't win? No thanks. I mean that's the thing. You got to look. I can accept the harsh truth, and I accepted that harsh truth that I can't win this game, but not really. It's never gonna give me the life I want. So I'm throwing this whole piece of shit out, and we'll see what I can rebuild off the street. But yeah, I don't suggest everyone does that, especially if you got a family. So anyways, I'm gonna go do stand up later tonight. So I guess I'll go see what jokes I'm gonna end up doing. Hopefully, I'll get something to put up in the shorts. All depends on it depends on a few things. We'll see how it goes. So appreciate every single one of you, and new Patreon video is gonna go up tomorrow. I already filmed it, but I got to go over it. There's some unbelievable shit happening on Patreon. If you're interested, go look at it. You can see what I'm doing on there. You don't got to pay for it. You can just see